It's time for The Story Behind the Person, featuring lively, in-depth conversation with compelling guests from our community. And here is our host, Jonathan Van Bilsen.
Hello and welcome to this episode. My guest today is Taylor Bursey, a marketing director and host of her own TV show. I'm looking forward to learning about this up-and-coming talent in the industry. We'll be right back after these messages.
Top care with top stylists. Book your next hair appointment with Port Perry's award-winning hair salon, Rosario Greco Styles. The hair experience you deserve. Book today. Call 905-985-0099.
Welcome back. As I mentioned, my guest today is Taylor Bursey. Taylor, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
I'm having trouble speaking this morning. So, you and I met about 4 or 5 years ago when you actually interviewed me.
Yes.
On the radio station you were working at.
Yes.
Which was a thrill. I was nervous.
Were you?
I was.
I couldn't tell.
Good.
You're natural.
It's been a long time since I did radio, so it's changed quite a bit.
You'd think it'd be a little less intimidating because there's no cameras.
That's true. I suppose that's true, yeah. When I did radio, though, back in the day, we had turntables.
Right.
And it was interesting. And I'm going to digress for a sec because when I saw your studio, it was amazing. Everything's technology-centric. We had 3 turntables, and what you'd do is you'd start the record as you're talking, and then when the music starts, you hold the record, spin it back a quarter of a turn so the turntable would spin.
Wow.
Because if you didn't do that, you'd have a wind-up sound, right? From the record. If you turn it on, it goes mwah, sort of thing. So you'd have the record spinning and then you'd be holding it and then you'd be talking about the commercial or whatever's going on. And then when you're ready to talk, you let go. And with this hand, you would count the time over the record that you would talk. So if it's a song that's got a 3-second intro, you'd have this going, you'd be talking, you're going like this with the other hand, and then you let go and stop talking at the same time.
What happens if you sweat?
There was a lot of that.
Okay.
There was a lot. It was very stressful. But when I saw your studio, I mean, it's all technology, right? It's amazing.
Yes.
So we'll get to that in a second. I want to just back it up a bit. So you're from Port Perry.
I am.
And you went to high school in Port Perry. You grew up here. You did everything here.
I did.
You're not living here anymore, right?
I have recently relocated to downtown Toronto.
Right.
But my family is all still here. So
Okay.
I am back in Port Perry in the North Durham area quite frequently.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Good. Yeah, once you're from here, you never leave, right?
No, and I do have plans on coming back. It's just, why not experience the big city for a little bit, see what happens?
So you finished high school, you decided to go to McMaster.
Yes.
And what did you do there? What did you take?
So I went to McMaster for a communications degree.
Okay.
I was a part of the humanities faculty. And one thing about my university journey that's maybe a little bit different from the average person's university journey is I actually didn't know what I wanted to do or what I wanted to major in or minor in or why I was there other than I wanted to be there and I wanted to have a higher education.
Right.
So I went to McMaster. I joined the Faculty of Humanities with an idea that I was going to be in communications because I like to talk to people.
Right.
But I got my degree solely in communications without a minor, and I actually made my own minor when I was at McMaster in professional development.
Oh.
And instead of taking courses to supplement a minor, I started working in different communications fields to learn exactly what I wanted to do and get experience in all different industries and see what happens.
So you worked at McMaster too. You were a commentator on their radio station, CFMU, right,
Yes.
which is their in-house station. And you did basketball games and stuff like that?
I did basketball, color commentating, and then I actually became the in-arena host at McMaster.
Oh, really?
So I would work with the TV station there, and sometimes TSN would come in, and I would be the person that would run out onto the football field and do that game during halftime, or volleyball and basketball, just hyping up the crowd and all that good stuff
Really?
too.
Oh, good for you.
It was
Wow.
a lot of fun.
So we both have a sports background, because I was a jock, as you can probably tell. Not. So you also were on the Dean's List of Distinction.
Yes.
And is that because of your excellence in
Academics.
Academics?
Yes.
Good for you.
Thank you
That's
very
amazing.
much. Thank you.
And then when you finished McMaster, where did you, did you go right into radio at that point?
So I actually started in radio during my time at McMaster. So with the, I guess you could call it frustration or desire to figure out what I wanted to do in life I was very conflicted in university, and I actually sat down and decided I was going to join the radio station because, well, I like to talk to people, so I'll be in radio. So I joined CFMU and started basketball color commentating. And when I did that, the following summer, I moved back home to Port Perry and was a little frustrated because I was okay at basketball color commentating, but it wasn't my passion.
Right.
And I didn't feel that I was really making an impact because half the time I didn't know what I was talking about.
Right.
So I went to work at a local golf course
Okay.
the summer going into my second year of university. And when I was working, my first table, when I was working there, I was helping a couple, and the gentleman was with Steam Whistle Radio. And he asked me, "What do you do?"
Okay.
And instead of saying, "I'm a university student," I said, "I'm a broadcaster."
Good answer.
And he goes, "Well, we're looking for interns. Here is my name, my card. Give me a call on Monday." This was over the weekend. He goes, "Let's set up an internship for you."
Right.
So I went, this is my moment. This is my big break. Here we go. So I start my shift on Monday. I was working at the golf course that day, and I thought I'll call him right after my shift, and I will set up my dream, and I will be a radio personality.
Right.
So I want to say maybe an hour into my shift. And this is my second shift. So I'm nervous. I'm trying to do the best I can do. I'm carrying a pot of coffee across the restaurant.
Right.
And there was a woman in the corner of my eye who was jumping out of her seat and frantically waving me down. So I went over there, very nervous because I didn't know why this woman was jumping at me. And as soon as I walk over, she goes, "Do you know what a medium is?" And I said, "Coffee? Absolutely." And I start pouring her coffee. She goes, no, somebody that speaks to people who have passed on. And I said, "Am I on TV right now?" That is my dream. And she goes, "No, but I have a message. May I read you?" This woman read me perfectly to a T. She told me a couple of other things. And then she says, "Your career's about to take off."
Wow.
And me being the person I am, I said, "My waitressing career or my broadcasting career?" And she went, "Well, considering I'm sitting with the head host at 105.5 Hits FM, Uxbridge Radio, I'd like to say your broadcasting career." And I was hired a couple of days later, and I started working as the community events coordinator and doing live on location throughout the last couple of years of my university career. I had some opportunities with music festivals to continue to hone my skills with them. And then when I graduated university, because I had been working at the radio station for a few years, they actually gave me the primetime afternoon slot. So I could continue to hone my skills and really develop my radio career.
So the music festivals that you were doing, the events
Yes.
you were doing, like Uxbridge, Art in the Park kind of thing, and wherever the radio station sent you, whatever the...
Anywhere my heart desired to go, they encouraged me to go. I would comb through all the listings for local community events and see where I could go and how many events in a day I could hit. Sometimes I was hitting 9 or 10 events in a day. And I was all over North Durham in my little community cruiser, and I absolutely loved it because it was an opportunity to connect with the community and give people exposure.
Was there live
hits, yes.
as well?
So I would do it through my cell phone. I would call into the radio station. They'd patch me through, and I'd say, "Hey, I'm here at Art in the Park.
Yeah.
There's so many vendors. I just walked in. I saw this amazing thing. You need to come, and if you come find me. Say hi. I've got something for you."
Oh,
and
great.
It was just an amazing way to connect with the community.
And then you jumped from there into the actual broadcast. You actually did a show from there, right?
Full primetime show, yes.
Yeah. What time? What was your time slot?
I was Monday to Friday from 3 to 7, and then Saturdays 10 to 2.
Wow, 3 to 7. Wow.
Yes.
You had everybody going. I did a morning show, which was tough because it starts at 5:30 in the morning. And plus I was, I took over after a fellow named Bob McAdory, who old people will remember. He was awesome. This was in CFGM in Richmond Hill, and he left, and I got the morning show.
I loved connecting with people. I can't tell you how magical it is to have a local musician or a young artist come into the studio and hear their music on the airwaves for the first time ever.
Right.
Because the benefit of being a medium market station is I had room to do that kind of stuff. I had room to give people opportunities that they might not get anywhere else.
Right.
And that moment of just watching that musician close their eyes and listen to their music after being interviewed and hearing it play for the first time, I can't describe to you that feeling because it's just so amazing. Or having somebody who's really passionate about a local charity come in and talk about why they're passionate, or just somebody who has an incredible story that wants to share it. All those moments and memories are what really made it for me.
Yeah. That is great. It's great to interview people because you learn so much about people and things in general that you just don't know, and it's very diverse, right? Because you could be talking to someone who's in a mechanic industry one day, next day you could be talking to someone who's in a clergy or something like that, and it's all over the map.
Oh yes, and sometimes it's the people that you think, oh, you might not really have much to say, or you might freeze up, that gives you the best story, and you think, oh, I can't believe I was worried about this. This was the greatest thing. Also,
you do a podcast, right, with your dad?
I do.
It's called Daughter and Dad?
Daughter and Her Dad.
Daughter and Her Dad. Sorry. So what's that about?
So it is about my everyday life with my dad. So my dad and I are very similar. When I was on radio, he actually came into the studio every Friday to record a quick segment, or he'd do it live, where we would give advice, answer questions, things like that. And when I left radio, it was funny. I would run into people at the grocery store and in public, and they'd say, "We miss you and your dad." Not, "We miss you."
Yeah.
So I knew that I had to make a podcast to just talk about what my dad and I were doing, the crazy stories that happened to us, or talking about news from different generational
Give us an
perspectives.
example. Is that putting you on the spot, or can you?
Well, one of the most popular stories for my dad is when he went to the grocery store, one of the grocery stores here in town.
Right.
And this was when they first started charging for 5-cent bags.
Okay.
And he was having trouble wrapping his mind around that, as many people did. So my dad went to the grocery store, filled up his bags reluctantly, paid the 5 cents for the bag, left the grocery store. As he was walking to his car, the bag broke in the parking lot. And he was not happy, in a comical way. So he went back into the store and went to the clerk that had sold him the bag and said, "My bag broke." She goes, "Oh, here's a new bag, sir." And he said, "Oh, no, I would like a refund, please." And the woman was so astonished, and he was joking, of course, but he really played it up, and the person who was serving him was just so shocked and stunned that she didn't know what to do, and he knew, okay, I've got a story here, and he shared that on air, and next thing you know, I had almost 100 people write in and say, "Your dad is hilarious.
Really?
You two need to talk more. You need to keep going at him, and he needs to keep telling us his crazy viewpoints on things."
Did he get the refund for the bag?
He did not.
He didn't?
No.
Interesting.
And, being somebody who lives in town, who's very involved in the community, I am one of four. He's not the guy that's going to walk around town and cause problems.
Right,
He's more of the jokester.
Yeah. Yeah, fortunately, the money for those bags did go to the library. I think they donated it all to the library. So it did end up at a good cause.
I don't know if at this particular store that was the case, but I do know in some areas that they do that.
I guess we're not going to mention that store then, are
No,
we?
no.
No, absolutely not. But I thought that was the case with at least a couple of the stores. The issue there seemed to be he obviously put too much stuff in the bag.
Well, he didn't put them in the bag, right?
Oh,
they
really?
bagged them for him at that time.
Because that's my little bone of contention, my little pet peeve with having to bag my own groceries.
Of course.
Of course, I'm still not used to having to pump my own gas.
Well.
But that was before your time when somebody actually did that, and they'd wash the windshield for you and check the oil for you and stuff like that.
How does it feel to live that luxury?
Yeah, well, I don't remember. It's been too long. Gasoline was a whopping 6 cents a liter or something. We're going to, I'm going to hold you because we're going to take a break. I want to hear more about your life now and your new career that you're involved in and some of the things that you're doing. So bear with us. Please stay tuned. We'll be back right after these messages.
PP Print is excited to offer Port Perry wearables, featuring 2 great designs. Show your Skoogog pride with apparel and headwear. We have you covered. PP Print, more than just print.
At Voss, your independent grocer, it's all about hometown living and shopping. Owned and operated by Terry and Christine Voss, their newly renovated Port Perry store carries many local items to support our town and its residents.
Welcome back. My guest today is Taylor Bursey. Taylor, welcome back.
Thank you for having me.
So we talked a lot about you being on the radio. Now, the question I guess that comes to mind is did you leave the radio because of the pandemic? Was there something that you had other opportunities?
That's a question I get a lot.
I imagine.
And funny enough, I don't know with the medium story and how my life has worked out thus far, if I'm just somebody who kind of follows things that I'm called to do. But I started to feel in my radio career that, is this for me? have I experienced life? Have I experienced all those industries? And I started to think, maybe I should go see what the corporate world is all about. I can always come back to radio, right?
Yep.
So I kind of followed my intuition to get a corporate job because I felt called to do so. And when I was hired on at the company I'm with now, they sent me to Texas for training. And when I stepped off the flight from Texas back to Canada, I was there for a week, the world shut down.
Right.
So I had a big sigh of relief because, as we both know, the broadcast industry was hit very hard, and a lot of broadcasters were laid off. And if I had stayed, I would have been a laid off broadcaster for I don't know how long. So I was very lucky in that regard that I just kind of followed my intuition, picked up a corporate stable career to just see what it was like, because it ultimately worked out really well for me.
And the company you're with, it's Copac, is that right?
Coparts.
Coparts. And what exactly, what industry is that?
So we are a global online vehicle auction. We deal with salvage, wholesale, and used cars.
And you're in the marketing end?
Yes.
So what exactly does that mean? Like, what do you do?
So I am the director of marketing. I oversee...
Congratulations on that, by the way. I understand that's a recent promotion that you just got?
Yes, it is.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. So I oversee the Canadian division of the global company, and I also consult with other global countries to talk about what they're doing with their marketing strategy. Can we learn things from each other? Things of that nature. Now my role is kind of forecasting what the marketing department is going to look like in a year or 3 years from now. Okay. What's the goal? Where are we going? What markets are we targeting? Who do we want to become buyers? Things like that. Previously, I'd been more micro in the sense that I was looking a month, 3 months ahead. I always had a yearly plan, but I was working on the day-to-day operation. Now my role is to kind of look forward and kind of map out the path of where we're going to go and what's going to happen. And I'm also very closely ingrained with other departments and other teams, technology, sales, operations. And I am very proud to say that I have a hand in a lot of new enhancements that are coming to the industry. And we are a trailblazer in online vehicle auctions. We were 100% online prior to the pandemic. So when the pandemic hit, my company was set up and ready for success to continue to fuel that engine, if you will.
So the pandemic worked in your favor, so to speak.
The pandemic did work in my favor, and I'm very fortunate to say so. I definitely acknowledge that a lot of people did struggle and had difficulties in their career, but for me and the industry that I'm in, it worked out really well.
Good for you. Good for you. Yeah, we started a travel show at the beginning of the pandemic, and it just went gangbusters because of the pandemic, because people were staying at home.
Yeah.
So the online auction concept is exactly that. People bid on certain vehicles and such online.
Correct.
From all over the world?
All over the world, and depending on what country and where you live, there's different licensing requirements. So there's a lot of intricacies that happen with that. And I'm very proud to say that we are a Fortune 100 S&P 500 company.
Excellent.
And I am the youngest director in North America, if not globally, to be working at Copart.
That's great. Congratulations.
Thank
That's
you
amazing.
very much.
I love to hear stories like that. It's always nice. Now, do you see this as the rest of your life? Is this another stepping stone on the off chance that people from your company are watching this? Do you see this as a stepping stone? Are you going to get back into broadcasting permanently?
I don't know at this point.
Good.
I think it's amazing that I have the opportunity to explore both careers at this point.
Right.
I am passionate about my corporate job, and I'm passionate about marketing and sales and driving the success of my company, but I'm also passionate about being in broadcasting and telling those stories. So my philosophy has always been say yes to opportunity, do what works for you, and just follow the path that you feel called to follow.
And are you working downtown? Is that why you moved downtown? Or do you work from home? Or?
I work from home, and I go into the office once or twice a week.
In Toronto?
In Pickering, so we're located in Pickering. Okay. I moved to Toronto simply because I wanted to experience the city life.
Right.
And see what was out there. Being the age that I am at, I just thought, why not? Because if I don't do it now, I will never do it. So that's why I am downtown right now. I don't know if it's forever. I definitely see myself coming back to the North Durham area.
Do you find the hustle and bustle of Port Perry was equal to Yonge and Eglinton or wherever you're living?
Not quite.
No? Okay.
But what I will say is I'm strangely comfortable wherever I go.
Good. Good
so
for you.
that is the blessing in all of this, and I'm just happy that I'm able to have that kind of lifestyle.
And it's great with technology because now we can do so many things from wherever we want to. You know, I mean, I watch TikTok, I watch Twitter videos and stuff, and people are just picking up phones, doing fantastic things from anywhere. It's amazing.
Well, in working for a global company, 90% of the conversations I have are with people that are not in this country.
Right.
So it's not even like if I went to the office every day, I would be able to speak to them. So it's worked out really well.
Let me spin it ahead a bit. Now,
Sure.
I did see a clip online somewhere recently of you on stage, and it looked like you were singing. Do you do that as well? Are you a songstress? Is that the word?
I don't know what the word is. I would say I'm an entertainer.
Okay.
I don't have any singing ability.
Okay. We have a lot in common then.
Yes, but what I will say is I'm always willing to step up to a challenge.
Okay.
So what happened is I used to run a music festival for Hits FM, and
Right.
one of the local artists there had a song where she had a rapper, and the rapper wasn't able to attend the music festival. So rapper Taylor B stepped on stage and
for you.
freestyle rapped
Wow.
for the festival, which was an amazing experience. And again, when you run a music festival, you work 364 days of the year to make sure that that festival is successful. And if I have to get on stage and rap, I am 100% going to do it.
Good for you. That's great. I think I have the record of being the only person in Winnipeg who was asked to stop being on stage in a karaoke thing.
Oh.
Yeah, because we won't go there. I want to talk about your new show. You're
Yes.
doing a show, and it's not that new anymore. You've done maybe, 16, 17 episodes now?
Yes.
Give or take? And so walk us through a little bit. This is a show, it's called Modern Business, correct?
Yes.
With Taylor Bursey.
Yes.
And when I asked, if you wanted me to be on a show, you suggested that perhaps I was on the wrong age level for your show. And then I found out it was an under 40 crowd, so I do qualify. So tell us about the show.
So Modern Business is a brainchild I had during the pandemic when I was kind of sitting at home, missing broadcasting, loving my career, but looking for something to do to kind of fuel that passion again, get me excited. And when I had you on my radio show, I remember you saying, oh yeah, you can get involved with Rogers, this is how you do it. And
Right.
I didn't follow up with it at the time, but I thought, hey, why not now? Why don't I reach out to Rogers and do a temperature check, see what's going on, what they're looking to do, and if my goals align with their goals.
Right.
So I reached out to the producers at Rogers and I said, hey, I'm a local broadcaster. I've been out of the game for about a year, but I still have my following and audience within North Durham. I'd love to do a show. I have a couple of ideas. Would you like to talk? And they said, absolutely. And once they said absolutely, I said, great. And I put together a business plan for the show that I wanted. Now, the show that I wanted was the show that I have now.
Okay.
Featuring entrepreneurs under the age of 40.
Right.
And it's not strictly just entrepreneurs. I also interview philanthropists, market makers, anybody who is young doing things differently.
Right.
And that was fueled from the radio station because I would meet people who would be doing amazing things and nobody else would know about it until I have them on my show.
Right.
And I wanted to create that community for young people who don't necessarily get the same opportunities. A lot of the business shows that you see out there are always with people who are very established in their
Right.
career,
Absolutely.
have years under their belts. Well,
Absolutely.
there's a lot of new technology and modern ways of doing things that are also incredible that people who are established can learn from,
Yep.
and vice versa. But there's always the medium for young people to
Right.
learn from established, but there's never the medium for younger people who are just trailblazing
Yep.
to kind of share and learn and all that kind of stuff. So that's where Modern Business was born.
Right.
I also am very fortunate to have a great local network of people under the age of 40, because that is my demographic,
Yeah.
that I knew I had enough people in my Rolodex, if you will, that I could fuel a couple of seasons of the show.
Right.
So it has been absolutely incredible. I've met some amazing young entrepreneurs and people just doing things differently, and it's been a true honor for them to share their story. They talk about their successes, their trials and tribulations, and each show ends with a trade tip from that person. So a piece of advice that they have received that has stuck with them, a piece of advice that they'd like to give others, or just a general tidbit of business information that they think it's important to share with the world.
Okay, we'll put it on the screen if we can do that. The name of the show, obviously, and it's viewable on Rogers TV,
Yes.
obviously. And it's also on rogerstv.com, and it's on YouTube as well.
It is on YouTube as
And
well.
do you do it as a podcast also?
I do not do it as a podcast yet, but you're definitely fueling my inspiration in that regard.
We've been doing this, all my shows on as podcasts, and they go over very well because a lot of people like to drive and listen, right?
Of course.
So some of the guests that you had on the show, who are some of the guests?
So the first guest I picked was my friend Dwayne Lewis, who runs a volleyball league in Durham Region.
I saw that show just yesterday. I looked at it.
Yes.
But, he seemed nervous.
He was a little nervous. It was his first time ever doing anything media related, but
Right.
he did very well. And I just think he's such an inspirational person, and a lot of people could learn from him.
Yeah.
So that was fantastic. I had Jasmine Richmond. She
I
is
know
a
Jasmine
metal
well.
artist.
Yep, I know her well.
Just absolutely incredibly talented. And again, another person that if you seek her out in the art world, you know who she is, but the everyday person might not see her art and know exactly what she does and why she does it.
Right.
So again, just another incredible person. I have some amazing people coming up on the show.
Give us a hint. Who's coming up?
I don't know if I want to give hints. I'd
All
rather you
right.
guys tune in and see.
All right, I won't put you on the spot, but let me know when you do the under 50 crowd, from under 40 to under 50. You can call me.
I would love to do that.
Yeah. Taylor, we've come to the end of our segment.
I was having so much fun.
Time goes so quickly. Thank you so much for being here. I really enjoyed chatting again. We didn't get into our co-hosting of the election night, which is probably a good thing, but we had a lot of fun doing that as well.
Well, we just have a little cliffhanger for the audience.
We'll do it next time.
Awesome.
All right, thank you so much for being here. And thank you all for watching. Please join us every month right here for the story behind the person on Rogers TV.